studio, and joining me today in the studio is Nisi, and on the phone I have Christine of Moms in Charge. Hey ladies, how are you all doing today?
Good, how are you?
Glad to have y'all here with me for the second part of raising children. Last week we discussed raising daughters in the 21st century, and today we're going to talk about raising sons in the 21st century. And I know for, being a mom, I guess, no matter what century you're in, it's a learning experience of being a parent. And you never get everything right 100%. There is no one set manual for each child. Each child is totally different. They can have the same parents, and each child will still be totally different. So yeah, we're just going to dive right in to talk about how, or what it is that you do as parents in raising, or as moms, I should say, in raising your sons, because especially being Black in today's culture, and some of the things that I've seen on Facebook or on social media in general, with all the killings of the Black guys, moms are saying, well, I'm a little afraid. I'm scared that, my son, he's at the age where, whether he lives on his own or if he's just starting to drive, I'm afraid that, he's going to be next. And to live with that fear as a mother is just mind-blowing. So I guess it's a little different for, today is a little different for daughters than it is for sons. And it may be that, more stress comes with trying to raise a son in this this day and age. So let's talk about that. Christine, how old is your son? I know Nisi's son is what, 19?
18.
18. Okay. So Christine, how old is your son?
We're not getting her.
So Nisi, so your son is 18. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about that. He's at that age of driving now, and where he wants to be out. And I remember you posted on Facebook when he first got his license. so just talk to us about what it's like raising now, in the 21st century.
Well, just like with your daughters, it's just as important to maintain open communication with your sons. Because I've always done the time with my son, with all my kids actually, we developed that trust, and I would say a different kind of relationship, because once again, we enjoy each other's company. I enjoy being around him. He enjoys being around me. And what I've tried to do is create an atmosphere where he would tell me anything.
Right.
And oh my God, he has told me just things at times that I wasn't expecting, and and I appreciated it. And and he was real candid, and he didn't cut any cards. He said exactly what he needed to say, and I appreciated that. But again, you have to create that environment. Sometimes we can be so tough on the kids, and tell them to do this, do what I say, and
do as I say, not as I do.
Exactly. And you got to be careful of that.
Yeah.
Because, you're telling them to not do some things that you've done, And again, communication is huge, because, in order to get them to actually listen, you got to let them know that you can relate.
Right.
And you can only do that by sharing.
Right.
Some of the things about you that you try to tuck away and act like you never did, that you never took part in. And again, you give it to them in ways in which they can handle it was age appropriate.
Right. And that's so key. Like you said, you have to build that relationship, because in order to let them know the things that, your stories, our stories, you have to feel comfortable with sharing that. And even sometimes I know when I talk to my daughter about certain things that I've done in my past, maybe at that moment I'm not even comfortable with it, but I still share. And like you said, in a way where she can understand, where she can learn from our mistakes. Because I'm like, if I can share something with you so that you won't have to go through the same thing, then that's what I'm going to do. Now, I don't have a son, but I have a lot of nephews, and I try to talk to them as well and inform them of just different things. But like you said, that building that relationship is so important, where we can, as they grow up, we can continue to build that relationship, talk to them, and they'll talk to us, and it'll be basically an open relationship where, like you said, if you come to me with anything, and that's what he's doing. Because I know some parents will they'll say come to me with anything, but when their child comes to them, they react in a way that shuts the child down. Now, of course, no parent wants to hear certain things from their child, but I think it's so important that we respond in the right way to say, I'm open to hearing you. Okay, let me just hear you, opposed to let me listen in order to respond to what you're saying.
Exactly.
So let me just hear you, let me feel you. And that's so important with raising children.
You know what? That's critical, how we respond. Because I think I just posted something on Facebook not long ago, about how we don't respond because we've listened and we're going to respond to what just talk to you about what you just said, but we're waiting to just talk.
Right.
And we're not processing
Right.
what's being said. And I mean, I'm guilty of
I think we all are. We've
reacting,
done that.
You know what I mean? But the thing is that my kids know me so well that it's like, okay, Mom, come on. And they help me. They bring me back to a place where I can actually listen. And I can appreciate them talking to me, especially my son, because he's not one that opens up to everybody. So I know if he tells me something, he means it. It's from the heart. And although he's not telling me what he wants me to do, I know he wants me to intervene in some way.
Right.
But one thing, if he really does not want me to, he'll say non-stop.
Okay.
And I try to respect that.
Right. You try. Right.
It's hard. It's hard, but you have to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have to do it, because if you don't,
they won't come back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so it shuts them out in a way where they're like, okay, I'm not going to come back because she doesn't know how to respect the fact that I asked her not to, so, and sometimes that's going to be burning you up inside. You'll be like,
I'm bored on the inside.
can I just say one thing? Okay, I won't hold one thing.
And that one thing, once you let it out, it's over.
Yes.
It's over, so.
Yes. And so, building that relationship. Now, how do you talk to him about being a black man in society?
You know what? I try to instill a sense of pride in him based on our family background. You know what I mean? Based on, what I know about his father's side of the family, and based on what I know about my side of the family. And we have a really rich and interesting history. And so I share that with him. To let him know where he comes from, and then, I have to remind him of how smart he is, because these kids, they can be so influenced by so many things. Social media is insane. Okay?
Yeah.
And they see these things, and they want to be, they want to be some of these things that they see, not knowing or not remembering or not having anybody tell them where they come from, And I mean, and I love everybody, but I love us. I think everybody knows.
Right. Yes, we know.
I love us.
We know. Yes.
I love us with a passion. Yeah. You know what? And I love everybody. I swear I do. But I love our young black men.
Right.
And so I just have to remind him how smart he is, how intelligent he is, and what he's capable of. And you have to keep pouring into them.
Right.
You have to pour into them.
Hello. Hello? Hello?
She's there.
Christine?
Okay. Okay.
We're having a little technical difficulties, but we're working that out. And like you said, pour into him, because there are so many things out there that's trying to pour into our black men, and they're trying to pour into them negative things. And so they pick up one of these negative things, and that's what they want to become, because they see this big, high, and mighty image out there in social media, in Hollywood, or wherever, and that's what they want to become. And I think that sometimes, as women even, we can get caught up in that. We can get caught up in that image thing, because image is across the board. It's not just a woman's problem. Image is across the board for everybody who walks on this earth. It's just that we gravitate towards the different types of image as women and as men. Now, with all that's been going on in the past few months, with all the guys being shot, past few years, I mean, look, since we stepped foot off the boat, okay, how do you talk to him about that? You know, is it ever a time where, just even in the recent events, where he came to you, where he seemed a little fearful for his own life?
Well, you know, I wish, you know, we had like magic answers and magic words to say to them, but we don't. You know, we don't. And it's frustrating when you know there's a list of behaviors that they have to have in order to not be harassed, you know, in order to avoid trouble. And you wish that was something that wasn't specifically for them, but the reality is that that's what it is. You know, so you can't sugarcoat anything. You have to show them, you know. And I can tell you this, when he was younger, and I would try to put these things out to him, you know, what men had endured before, he would call me a racist. And I'm like, Mom, he's like, Mom, you're racist. I'm like, I'm not a racist. I'm telling you
what
has happened.
Yeah.
You know, and again, you have to tell your kids about these things so that when it happens, one, it doesn't shock them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So as he got older, he started seeing for himself. And one thing I've always done, I've stopped, but I was a big protester. You know, something didn't go right. I was there. I was in it.
Right.
But my job knew I'm done. I'm pulling my kids out of school. We gonna protest.
Yeah.
And we having our colors, and you know, and that's it. But so it's not new to him.
Right.
It's not new to him when you know, when we have these discussions, and it's not surprising to him. I think he finds it disappointing more than anything.
Christine, are you there? I hear her faintly. Christine? Can't hear it all now.
Yep.
Alright, we're still working on it. So, like you were saying, that is, you want to teach him so that it's not surprising to him, he's not caught off guard, and he can be aware of what's going on, opposed to being ignorant. Because I know that even with my daughter, it's different a little bit now with them growing up in the 21st century, because it seems as if racism is over, but we really know that it's not.
Right.
I would say that that this generation is way more accepting to other races than what we've been in the past, and they are more integrated as well. So there's a great mixture, and I think that's probably why they're more so to say, oh, that's racist.
Exactly.
Opposed to someone who's coming from a background where, hey, we may have gone to an all-black school where there was only one white person that was really black. So, and you know, and so, and although we may have a sprinkle of Asian, of whomever, everybody in that school was still black because they grew up in that culture.
Right.
And so now there's a broader diversity throughout schools, throughout certain neighborhoods, and so they don't see color
Right.
like we may have saw color.
Right.
But it's still there.
Yeah. And that's what I think was my son's problem, because you know what? I did all that I could do to make sure that they were in a diverse environment. You know, I needed them to be around kids who were from other places, who didn't look like them. You know, and so we actually moved to an area a few years back where the demographic looked like us where we lived, but in school it was different. You know, and back then my son had locks in his hair. He was the only kid in school with locks, and it because of how he was treated, it made him feel away. That's when he started to, and he was young. That's when he started to see that there may be some difference here, and he fought it. Didn't like it because that's not how he grew up.
Right.
You know, and as things have progressively changed, and you're seeing things that happened back when our parents were young, as you see that stuff happening now, then you know he's talking about it.
Right. And he's more aware.
He's aware of it.
Right.
But you know what? It makes you angry because it's like, why does my kid have to be, you know, why do they have to be so careful?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Why do we have to walk on eggshells?
Why does that have to happen? But it's what it is. You know, you have to teach them, and don't get fooled. It happens to the young ladies too.
Right.
It happened to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In a business suit with my hair burned up and everything.
Oh,
it
yeah.
happened to me. And again, you have to be able to control how you react.
Yeah.
Because I boiled them. I have the potential to blow off. You know?
Right.
And you have to check yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it makes you so angry because it's like, how come everybody doesn't have to do that?
Right. It's like we have a rule book for our black sons.
Yeah.
And like you said, it makes you angry. It's not fair. But I feel like, and this ain't a racist comment, this is just my perspective and many other people's, black people's perspective in life, that white people, in particular white men, can say what they want to say and get away with it. And we see that in this in this current
Olympic season.
That too, yeah, and politics, and so we see that, and a lot of black people feel that way because it's, for us, it's true. It's like you can say whatever you want to say, and you'll get away with it. But for my black sons, I have to. There has been this rule book written by white America to tell you what you can do and what you can't do. And so it makes it difficult. So how do we get past that? Christine, are you there? I still don't hear her. Okay. Christine, if possible, are we on Facebook? We're on Facebook, so if you can go to Bright Live, look, I'm about to send you a message, their page, and chime in there so Brian can read your comments.
Christine, if possible, are we on Facebook? We're on Facebook, so if you can go to Bright Live,
We're going to go to break, and we'll be right back to continue with this conversation. Sorry for the technical difficulties. You're listening to the Linda D. Lowe Show, Girl Talk.
So we can't get her. We're playing music. Okay, there we go. Alright, so What's your guest name?
Christine.
Christine.
It may say mom's in charge. I want to say I'm not exactly
Christine.
sure. Hello. Hello. I just heard something.
There she goes. Okay.
Okay. I hear
Why
you
is she
now.
so hot now? When we go live, I wonder why we're not able to do this.
You able to hear me now?
Yeah,
I can hear
we're
you.
hearing you. We're
I can hear
hearing you.
now.
So I apologize. We're just trying to work out some technical difficulties that we haven't had before. So it could stem from what you were doing when you called and why you were getting some other sound and not us when you first called the first few times.
Right.
So it may stem from that. I'm trying to on the fly here isolate what the issue is, and so when you first called in, when you called in now, we heard you before the show started. It was fine. Once the show went live, we had difficulty hearing you. So I'm not exactly sure why that is just yet. So bear with me. Trying to work through it. Let me see here if I can even interrupt. Let's see if this does anything. Can you still hear us?
I can.
Okay. Well, we're going over the air. We've got Lauryn Hill playing behind us, and we're actually talking on air live on radio. So I just want to test that. So that's good. Radio Land, everybody listening to Bright Radio, you can hear us testing our equipment. Christine, are you there? All right. So we're good. So let's go back out. All right. Well, let's see if this thing works. We would love to have you join the conversation.
Yes.
We apologize if we have not had you. So we're not currently on the air right now. So they're just hearing Lauryn Hill and not us. Oh, Christine, I can hear your phone, but okay.
Okay, making sure you still.
Yeah.
I was able to hear the whole conversation.
Okay.
All right.
So Lord, work this out, Lord.
Okay. So and our video guy who's listening to the show somewhere else, he's actually saying the sound sounds good now on Facebook Live because there was difficulties there too. Yeah.
Okay.
So we got that clear. That's clear. And now we've got you clear. And we just need to thank God for His providence, His intervention.
Yes.
Because sometimes you don't know what the problem is, but
Yes,
it's just fixed.
it just fixed. And it's interesting. I had a show this morning. Everything worked fine. Whenever it comes to your show Thursday night.
I don't understand what's going on.
Last Thursday night we had trouble.
Yes. Right.
No, I'm hearing the producer guy and not Lauryn Hill. Well, yeah, on Facebook. Sorry, Facebook. We can't play Lauryn Hill. We can't play any of the music because Facebook does not have rights to play copyrighted songs over their platform. So for those who are watching on Facebook, you will not be able to hear the music unless it's original music by the artist that's in studio.
Yes.
And since Lauryn Hill's not in studio with us, we do not have permission to play, and so therefore, Facebook will not allow us to play. They'll shut the whole thing down, and we don't want to do that.
Right, we don't want them to shut us down.
Yeah. All right, so bear with us. For those who are on Facebook, we're playing Lauryn Hill. Do we want to play the other two, or just want to go right back to it?
We can go right back to it.
Let's go right back to it. So we got about another a minute 45 before Lauryn Hill is over playing To Zion. And many of you have heard that song before. Let's see if I can actually play a little bit of it.
That's the end.
Oh, well, it's like that's another minute 43 seconds. All right, let's go back up.
That was the.
Dad, what is that?
That joint boom. Like we in Cali.
It's the bombastic.
See, there's that.
I was singing a song.
I don't know what that is.
Over here.
Mr. Bombastic.
Yes, that's funny. I was.
All right, so yeah.
Welcome back to the Linda D. Lowe Show Girl Talk. Thank you for joining us via YouTube. Thank you for joining us via the app. Thank you for joining us on Facebook. Did we lose Christine again?
Yeah, but keep going. I got it.
My God, come on, Lord, work this thing out.
Yes.
But we're being patient. We're having a really good conversation in here, talking about raising sons in the 21st century, and we're on the topic of what do you say to your child, your son in particular, about current racism, how to respond? And we talked a little bit about that, and I was just saying how it seems as if there is a special manual that moms just have to teach their black sons in America.
There she is.
Christine, are you there? Christine?
Hello, can you
Yes.
Yeah, there
Okay,
we
yes.
go. All right.
We can hear you now. Thank you, God. So I was just saying how, we as black moms, did it go out again? Okay. As black moms, we have to teach our sons by this quote unquote the black man's manual and how you operate in society. And we know it's not fair, but it is what it is. And it can be sad. So Christine, share with us, I know you did type me on Facebook, but share with us, your son is 8 years old, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so share with us some of the things that you talked to him about being, or becoming a black man in America.
Right. Well, I think you ladies touched on it earlier about the whole thing. And I don't believe
So share with us some of the things that
talk to. I think that there's different levels of communication.
becoming a black man in America.
Earlier about
Right.
well, I think you told it earlier, making sure that if it happens and I don't have a concern, that they know they can come and talk to you about anything, and they don't feel like they're immediately going to get in trouble, or you're immediately. I think that there's different levels of communication, but our officer that you want to earlier about regardless of how you feel, regardless of what you think, might happen, not happen.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true. Communication, just across the board, period. Every type of relationship is so important that the person that we are, in relationship with, whether if it's a child, a sibling, a parent, a significant other, that we communicate to them that, okay, I'm open. Come talk to me about anything. Because I know that when communication breaks down, everything else goes.
Exactly.
Because you don't have anything without communication. And that's one of the arguments that I've been putting out there. And I know with all that has happened with the black guys and the police officers in the community, I said, you know what, I think we need to come together and we need to communicate here. Because I would say that I was about 2 weeks ago maybe, I was at a church who held a forum with the police officer. He came to the church, he talked about how, we need to respond. And I'm not gonna lie, I got a angry about, you know, this list that he's given us of how we should respond to police officers, and to me, it was one-sided. And it was one, not just to me, it was one-sided. And so I got up and I said to him, I said, how about us, or I receive what you're giving us, but what's been given to the police officers? Is there anything that has been given to them so that they can know that, hey, guess what? You don't need to be scared of me, and I don't need to be scared of you. I said, because this is a one-side communication. And I saw other posts on Facebook where they would put out stuff saying, okay, civilians, this is how you need to act when you get pulled over. Well, who is saying something to the cops? Because here it is that I think that they're scared about black men, and we're scared of them. So everybody is scared of each other because we don't know what the other person is going to do. And so it's coming to a point where it's like, okay, you know what? I don't know what you want to do. You don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to pop off first. And that's what it seems like it's coming to. So I think it's important that if we can, even in our own communities, that we begin to communicate with these officers, that's those ones who want to listen, because I know some that, you know, we have those Americans that just don't, some of them that don't want to listen, but those who do want to listen, and hopefully they can reach these other people. But it is unfortunate that we still live in a society where, you know, we have to, we're fearful of what's going to happen next to our black men. Because they're so vital. They're so vital to the community. And as moms, to live in that fear, you know, as your son grows older and older, it's like, okay, God, you know, I want to trust in you. I want to believe in you. Can you take this fear away from me? You know, it's a daily process, a daily growth.
You know what? What you just said was very important. And it just makes me think of how I have to handle, or feel like I have to handle the situation, because you can be engulfed by that. You know what I mean? It can, the fear and the anger can take over you. You know what I mean? So you have to dig deep and find a way to refocus and to search within to see what you can do. To find a way to talk to your friends, or you know, you have to find other outlets. You know, because it can consume you. It can make you angry to the point where you might behave like that bad police officer.
And I think that was what happened with the girl in Baltimore. I can't remember her name, the one who was in the apartment. I think that's what really happened with her, that it consumed her to the point where she was like, you know what, I'm gonna act like Nat Turner. So go ahead, Christine.
I was going to say, I think that one of the things that I talked about from the period of the last few incidents that happened is that you get right, and get angry, get set it up, so that, you know, your reaction is on you all the time. So I think that we also, you know, as parents, you know, we have to protect what we see, what we see every single day, because if we allow it, you know, we'll protect it.
Yes.
You know, just spiteful, and people then turn that, you know, to our kids, and that's what they will do. So, you know, we have to protect what we allow ourselves to watch.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Feel like all of this day in and day out, you know, on some of these things that happen in our community, because that does have an impact on us as well.
Right. And I can say that I have stopped watching. I used to watch the news every single morning. I'll get up, you know, do my devotion, and I'll turn the news on. But now I'm like, no, I'm not going to. I'm going to control it. I'll go to CNN every now and again. I'll listen to the local news station while I'm driving in a car, WTOP. You know, they continue to repeat the same story over and over again. And they usually don't focus in on just one thing. But I feel more at peace because I'm not continuing just sitting down watching Fox 5. And it's because it's like it's there's so much positive stuff going on.
Yes.
And we do not hear about that. We continue to hear about, oh, somebody else was shot in Southeast. Oh, somebody, and it's like these stories, they just continue to on repeat.
And you know what else happens too? As you see all these things, everything is heightened. Me, I have a 3-year-old too. Okay, so when I'm looking at Mr. Rogers, I'm fine.
Right.
Okay, but when Aunt Squad comes on, I take notice of everything, and it's like, okay, why are they making a black guy bad? Why, why are all the bad characters black? So it's everywhere. So you have to even turn off the TV on something that you think is innocent, because there are subliminal messages there. And what I don't want my baby to see is that all the bad guys are black, all the heroes are not.
Right.
So I'm getting mad at the cartoons.
Right.
I can't look at Bob the Builder. Leo is always messing up. Seriously. So you have to tune things. You have to tune everything out, and you do have to search for the positive things that's going on around you in your community, amongst your friends, and you have to focus on that. You got to focus on the blessings that you have, ways that God has blessed you that you didn't pay any attention to yesterday.
Right.
Because again, you will be concerned. You will take notice of it in other in other areas that you didn't see before.
Right. You're more aware now.
Exactly.
Yeah, and again, we have to, the whole hashtag stay woke, see what's going on, and so that we, as moms, don't get caught off guard, because we have to keep our sons informed.
Exactly.
And although some of the things they have not necessarily faced as reality yet, as they grow, as they get older, they're going to start facing more and more things. Depending on which part of the country they go in, they're going to start facing more and more things, and we have to prepare them for that. And we have to I can be very aggressive. And so I try to, because sometimes